if you're just starting now, great time to start. Brand new, pretty much topic. I mean, it's about sugyas on some level, but it's a brand new sugya, very famous sugya. By the way, anybody said Al Nisim in Davin today by mistake? Nobody here?
Tonight or today?
No, right now, tonight. Anybody? Okay.
I wish.
No, it happens though.
I don't remember it.
What? It's hard to It is, though a lot of times you're doing it for so long, but all of a sudden, now's when you finally remember.
On Friday, my mincha, like on the mincha, he's like, says Zacheinu Chaim.
Yeah, right.
Oh, speak? Speak?
Oh, yeah.
He was supposed to ask something actually, you know.
Okay.
The truth is, it's a nice thing, you know.
Yeah.
Suran Chaf Hey Amid Aleph. We are by the Mishnah, Shluchei Mitzvah. This is actually probably one of the most famous Mishnayos and Sugyas in Shas. Not only that, it's twice in Shas. It's over here, and it's in Brachas. And it's the famous Sugya, V'oisig b'mitzvah, pater min ha-mitzvah. Somebody's involved in the mitzvah, is pater from a mitzvah. And you go to any Yarchei Kala. Anyone's going to any Yarchei Kala coming up? Or it's here, there, what? Maybe Thursday. There's a classic Yarchei Kala Sugya. V'oisig b'mitzvah, pater min ha-mitzvah. Okay, so this is really where you start this Mishnah Chafei Amid Aleph. So start the Mishnah.
What does Yaakov call after that?
It's just one of those like classic Yarchei Kala sugyas. We're doing the Oisei b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah sugya, and they'll take Chafei Amid Aleph as their Mishnah. So it's good to know this.
Where did the Chazar of the one before this?
We didn't do Chazar, but I feel like it's been too long of being Zman.
Yeah. I did it today.
You did Chazar? You hear this?
No.
I should do Chazar today from last.
I won't get to say that. Figure out.
Check.
Freaking-
Okay, says the Mishnah. Shluchei mitzvah. Shluchei mitzvah are pturim in a sukkah. We're not talking so much now about how sukkahs are made and things like that. We're talking about the people, us, people that are we chayiv in sukkah, pater in sukkah. So the Mishnah starts off, shluchei mitzvah, people who are on their way to do a mitzvah. I don't know why the Mishnah says shluchei mitzvah. If anybody can find out for me why the Mishnah says they're called shluchei mitzvah, they're not really a shliach. They're just going to do a mitzvah. But the Mishnah calls them shluchei mitzvah. And some of the examples of people who are going to do a mitzvah are, number one, someone going to learn Torah. I'm not talking about learning Torah. I'm talking about going to learn Torah. If you are on your way to learn here tonight by Kinyan Masechta, and somebody says, I have a Bikur Chilim, there's this, there's that, I'm going to shul to learn. So that's called shluchei mitzvah. Another example would be going to visit your Rebbe. Visiting a Rebbe, is especially on the regal, is considered a mitzvah. Pidyon shvuyim, a guy's going to be redeem a captive. All these types of things are called shluchei mitzvah. People on their way to do a mitzvah. And the halacha is peturim min sukkah. These people are pater from the mitzvah of sukkah. That's it. It's on sukkahs and you're going to learn Torah. You do not have to go to the sukkah to eat, to drink, to sleep. You're pater. And believe it or not, even if you take a break to go to a hotel to sleep, you don't say, oh, you're right now not traveling, so maybe you're chayiv in sukkah. No. Everything you're doing to get to the mitzvah, even if you have to sleep, and sleeping there is going to be a problem to get a sukkah, to take care of a sukkah, you're pater all the way throughout your traveling. Shluchei mitzvah or pater min sukkah.
Chol Maitre considered a mitzvah?
Chol Maitre, so no, not passing Allah Chol Maitre questions there on that. Right, so you're getting into the Yarchei Kala sugyas, but there is a question if it will ruin, if you can't do both. But this is the overall idea. If someone is oisik in a mitzvah, going to do a mitzvah, he's pater from a mitzvah which is sukkah here. Says the Mishnah another case. Choylin umisham shehen p'turim min sukkah. People that are sick, umisham shehen, and the people that take care of them, they're caretakers, are pater from sukkah. Okay, this is a different halacha. Somebody who's sick, and we'll learn about it in the Gemara, he's pater from living in a sukkah because he's mitzstar. It's uncomfortable to be in a sukkah when you're sick. If the sukkah would be his home, he wouldn't live in such a house. And the sukkah, we know Teshu came to Duru, that you're only in a sukkah kozman that's similar to your home. So because a sick person would never want to be in a sukkah, therefore he's pater from the sukkah. And we'll get to that more. I'm just giving you a little bit of agdama to it. Umeshamshen, the people who are taking care of them, they are also pater, pturim in a sukkah, pater from being in the sukkah. There's a famous story, by the way, just agav, with, I think it was with Reb Chaim Ozer. Reb Chaim Ozer had a guest on Sukkot. The Talmud Chacham came to him, and Reb Chaim Ozer was sick. Chaim Ozer was sick, and the guest came, and it was Sukkot. So the guest wanted to eat something. So Reb Chaim Ozer told him that he's sick, he's not going to go into the sukkah, but they gave him some food to drink, and this guest went into the sukkah. A few minutes later, Reb Chaim Ozer came and sat with him in the sukkah. And the guest said, "You're sick, Chayil is patim in the sukkah." So Reb Chaim Ozer said, "You're right, Chayil is patim in the sukkah. But the mitzvah of Achnasa Sorchim, that I'm not pater from. So therefore I want to be with you in the sukkah." Anyways, Chayil is patim in the sukkah. And then the Mishnah has a third rule. Oichlin v'sheisin arai chutz l'sukkah. You're allowed to eat and drink arai. Arai means like a snack, in a temporary nature, not a fixed meal. Eating and drinking in a snacking way is pater from the sukkah, and we'll see why about that. So you have three rules of the Mishnah. First rule was shluchei mitzvah. People who are going to do a mitzvah, we'll call it the famous rule. Oisik b'mitzvah are pater from the mitzvah, they're pater from sukkah. The second rule is sick people who are mitzvah are pater from a sukkah. And the third rule is if you're just snacking and those types of foods, you're pater from eating that in the sukkah. Says the Gemara, Mino hani mili. From where do I know it from? Who says that if you're going to do a mitzvah, you're pater from sukkah? Who told us this famous concept of Oisik mitzvah pater min mitzvah? Says the Gemara, the Ton Rabbanan. It's the Rabbanan taught in the Brisa. It's in the Furish Brisa. It says like this. Take a look. I know it's a famous pasuk, but I think people don't understand the pashup shad of this pasuk. You say it every single day, twice a day. Look at the Torah or Hasholim on the left side of the Gemara, Aleph. Okay, famous pasuk. We know Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We know V'ahavta, Hashem is one. You have to love Hashem, and these V'hayot V'ra'me'ila Shenechem Etzavchem Alavechet should be on your heart. But then the pasuk says like this: V'shinantem l'v'necha. You should teach them to your kids. What should you teach to your sons? Pashup shad. What it says in Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, teach that to your kids. Teach them Havas Hashem. That's the Pashup Shad. Teach them these things. V'dibarta bam, and speak about them. Speak about these words of Shema. When? B'shiftecha b'veisecha, when you're sitting in your house. U'v'lechtecha v'derech, and when you're walking on the road. U'v'shachbecha uv'chumecha, and when you go to sleep and when you get up. You're chayiv in Kriya Shema. When you chayiv in Kriya Shema, when you're sitting in your home, when you're walking on the road, the last words of V'shachba of Kumecha means at the times of getting up and at the times of going to sleep. Okay, just the pashup shad, the pasuk, and we'll go back to the brisa. There's a mitzvah to say Kriya Shema when I don't care where you're sitting in the house, you're walking on the road. V'shachba of Kumecha is the times. You'd say it when you're walking on the road or sitting in your house, in the morning when you get up, and at night when you go to sleep. Okay, that is the mitzvah of Kriya Shema. Let's go to the Gemara now. The Tanur Rabbanan taught in the Brisa, B'shiftecha b'veisecha, when you mechuyev to say Kriya Shema when you're singing in your house. Prat, to exclude l'oisik b'mitzvah, somebody who's being oisik in the mitzvah. Only if you're sitting and chilling in your home, then you're mechuyev in Kriya Shema. But if somebody who's being oisik in the mitzvah, then he's not chayiv in Kriya Shema. I know we're talking about Kriya Shema now, but it'll apply to Sukkah as well. Somebody who's oisik in the mitzvah is pater from Sukkah. Somebody who's oisik in the mitzvah is pater from Kriya Shema. So that's the first part we learned from B'shivcha b'veisecha. The pasuk goes on, U'v'lechtecha v'derech, and as you walk on the road, what's that coming to exclude? Prat l'chasam. It's coming to exclude a chasam. A chasam, the night of his wedding, he's super torrid. He's super nervous. He has a big mitzvah coming up. We're talking about his bi'ah, his bi'ila he's going to have, and that's on his head. And he's pater from Kriya Shema. Technically a chasam, the night of his wedding, is pater from Kriya Shema. There's something big going on that night. Okay? Now there's a big question. You just said, B'shitcha b'veisecha, to exclude someone who's Isaac in the mitzvah. So what do I need to tell you that a chassan is also Isaac in the mitzvah? It's the same thing twice. The answer is a chassan is a much bigger chiddush. Why? Because the chassan is not walking to his mitzvah. He's on his way to the mitzvah, and he's not being Isaac in the mitzvah. It's just tonight, he has something that's on his head that is a mitzvah. And the pasuk is telling us, such a guy is pater from Kriya Shema. So we just took Isaac in mitzvah to a whole new level. Not just walking to a mitzvah, not just being Isaac mamish, but be a diamond in the mitzvah, but also in your mind that you have a mitzvah coming up and you're very fatrat. You're like, your mind's on it.
Anxiety and
The Gemara's going to answer your question. The Gemara's going to answer your question about anxiety. Yes, you'll see in a second. Yeah. Al Kapanim, so there's another exclusion, even the Chassan's pater from Kriya Shema. Mikan Amru, the Brisa ends off like this. From here they say, HaKoines is a basula, somebody who marries a basula, a lady who was never married before, pater, you're pater from Kriya Shema. Ve'esa Amana, if somebody marries a widow, chayiv, you're chayiv in Kriya Shema. We'll see soon. The Gemara is going to elaborate what's the difference between the basula and the amana. It's a little bit shver. They're both going, is the mitzvah of having a bia that night. So what should be the difference? We'll see in a few minutes. Al Kapanim, we see a mefurish braisa, that somebody who's oisig b'mitzvah from b'shivcha b'vesecha v'lechta b'derech, these ideas, if you're going to do mitzvah, you're pater, like from Kriya Shema, pater from Sukkah. Says the Gemara, that was the braisa. The Gemara says, my mashma, how is it implied in b'shivcha b'vesecha uv'lechta b'derech prat to exclude oisig b'mitzvah? Where do you see in these words? It just says when you're walking on the road, when you're sitting in your house, where do you see from these words this idea? Amar Rav Huna says, Rav Huna, kiderech. It says, uv'lechtecha b'derech, when you're walking on the road. So we darshan kiderech, like the road. What do you mean, like the road? Ma derech rishus. Just like the road is a rishus, it's optional, it's voluntary. Guy's going to do business. He's just walking on the road, he's going for a spatzir. Af kol rishus. So too, any other type of rishus, going for a walk, whatever else it is, not something that you need to do. Lafuke, to exclude, hai de b'mitzvah asuk. To exclude this guy who's being oisik in a mitzvah. We learn that from Derech, people that are just walking on the road to do business or to do things like that, those types of people are mechuyev in Kriya Shema. But somebody who's oisik in a mitzvah, that's not like doing his own thing. He's doing something that's a mitzvah. Hashem wants him to do it, he's a chiv to do it. So such a thing, he is pater from Kriya Shema. That's how you see it from the pasuk. So the Gemara asks the question: Milo yaskinan deka'azol ledvar mitzvah? Who says derech means optional, voluntary road? Uvlechta b'derech, anytime you're like walking in an optional way. Who says? Are we not dealing with also deka'azol ledvar mitzvah when he's going to do a dvar mitzvah? It's also hitting the road. A guy hits the road to go learn. A guy hits the road to go do business. Where do you see more business than the road for mitzvah? Maybe it's referring to mitzvah as well. V'ka Amar Rachman, the Torah tells us, likri, that you should read it. So where do you see the word derech more rishus than going to do a mitzvah?
Not that it means after, but it can encompass everything.
So at least it's both. At least it's both. Even doing a mitzvah, yeah. Even doing a mitzvah, you should be chayiv. You should be chayiv. By the way, interesting idea to know for life. What does the Gemara call the Torah here? The Ka'amar Rachmana. Why is the Torah called Rachmana? Rachmana means Hashem, the merciful one. Why is it called that? Hashem, the merciful one. Never we would say about the Torah, it's because the merciful one, Hashem. Just say the Torah. So I heard from a Verizon once, he says that the Torah Shabbat is much more scarier than Torah Shabbat Peh. If somebody kills somebody, you're mechuyev misa, right? But you look at Torah Shabbat Peh, you have to have asra, has to take the Hebrew of the asra. There's so much rachmanas in Torah Shabbat Peh that takes away a lot of the seriousness of Torah Shabbat. So the Gemara very often calls Torah Shabbat, the drashas they'll say rachmana, means in learning it up, the Torah calls it rachmana for the Torah because it's Hashem sort of his mercy that makes it more relaxed. For example, a guy, this case is a little bit interesting. This actually sounds more of a chumrah, but he says that's why the Gemara calls the Torah rachmana. It also means a mitzvah, and it's telling you to say Kriya Shema. So the Gemara answers, no, im kain, if so, lema kra, let the pasuk say, b'sheves uveleches. Right, why does it say, b'shivtecha uvelechtecha, in your sitting and in your going? Say, b'sheves pesecha, while sitting in the house. Uveleches, and while walking v'derech. Why does it say, my b'shivtecha uvelechtecha, in your sitting and in your going? What's that lashon? It's coming to tell you, beleches didachu demechayeves. Only in your going, belechtecha, you're walking, you're going on a trip, you're going to work, those types of walking. Ha-beleches de mitzvah petiras, but going to do a mitzvah, you're pater. So we're changing it. It's not just the word derech. Derech could imply schira, tiyul, going on a trip or vacation or or going to go to work. It could imply a mitzvah as well. Where do you really see from the word derech that you're pater? The answer is, it says uvelechtecha, and you're going. It means it's your rishus that you want to go there. B'shittecha, and you're sitting means you're optional. Sitting in now is not a chiyuv of a mitzvah. So it comes out, we have a makar now. We have a makar. From b'shittecha b'visecha uvelechta b'derech, we learn that someone who's oisig a mitzvah is pater min a mitzvah. From here. But since you're pater from Kriya Shema, so any other mitzvah, you're pater from Sukkah as well. Now the Gemara asks an obvious question on this brisa. The Gemara says, "Ihachi." If so, what we're coming out with that oisig mitzvah pater min a mitzvah. Afilu koines es almana nami. Even somebody that gets married to a widow also should be pater from Kriya Shema. What shaykhus has a besula have any more shaykhus to almana? You know, there's a big mitzvah that night. What's the difference between a besula and the almana? So the Gemara says, koines es a besula. Somebody who gets married to a besula, torrid. He's much more occupied. His mind is much more, he's busier. A lot more busier. Koines almana loy torrid. Somebody who marries an almana, it's not such a tirda. It's not such a tirda. What's the tirda exactly? It's not so clear. But pashas, the tirda is to make sure she's a besula, right? There's a concept, dam besulim, you're like thinking about that. It's the first time for her, so it's like much more to make sure that it happens. There's a lot more tirda on the man than it is when you marry an almana. So therefore, only somebody that's a chassan, that's getting married to a besula is pater from Kriya Shema that night, not someone that gets married to almana. The Gemara says, whoa. It has to do with tirda? V'chohecha de torrid. Any case, any situation where someone's torrid, hachinami de pater, the Gemara thinks like, is I'm in the mitzvah, it's more like just the tirda part, right? Almana, getting married to almana is a mitzvah, getting married to besula is a mitzvah. So what are you throwing in? It's more of a tirda. Okay, so it sounds like it's more about tirda. So if it's more about tirda and your mind occupied, so you're going to tell me anytime you're occupied, anytime you have anxiety, right? It's like you're saying, anytime you have anxiety about something, you're going to tell me hachinami de pater, that you're going to be pater? The Gemara says, elameyata. So if so comes, the ela means like rather from this situation, meyata from now comes out. Tava sfinasa beyam. If somebody's boat is drowning in the sea, right? His boat is sinking, his business is falling apart. The Torah, he's super occupied in this. Hachinami de pater? You're going to tell me also that he's pater?
Talking about mitzvah though, no?
Oh, the Gemara is going to say your Torah. It's very good. But the Gemara is thinking now it's more about the Torah, because marrying an almana is also a mitzvah. And marrying a besula is a mitzvah. So you're telling me it's Torah. Oh, Torah. So it sounds like really any type of Torah you can't think about. By the way, you need to have kavanah to say Kriya Shema. You need to have kavanah, what the words mean. Pasha can't have kavanah. So the Gemara says, so it could be also if a guy's boat is sinking in the sea, you should also be pater from Kriya Shema. And you can come up with any other things that give you anxiety, any business things or anything like that. So you're going to tell me that he's pater? So guess what? The Gemara says, v'chi tema. And if you're going to tell me hachinami, meh. Here also, yeah. Could be you're right. Could be any time a guy's torrid in any situation, maybe he's taka pater from Kriya Shema. It can't be. Because V'amar Abba Bar Zavda says of Abba the son of Zavda, Amar Rav in the name of Rav, Avol, somebody who's a mourning, Chayiv b'chol hamitzvahs amuras b'Torah. Somebody who's sitting shiva, he's chayiv in every mitzvah that's said in the Torah. Chutz, besides minat tefillin. An avol's pater from tefillin. Now, halach l'maisa, he's only pater the first day of the kvura. He's not pater the rest of shiva. But l'maisa, it is a concept that an avol is mechuyev. I'm not talking about an oinen. Oinen is right away at the beginning. The guy's not mechuyev in any mitzvahs. But once it's buried, the mace is buried. The first day of Avelis, you're pater from tefillin. Why are you pater from tefillin? Shaharei nemar behem pe'er. It says in the pasuk that tefillin are a splendor. You should just know that when you're wearing tefillin, you're wearing a pair. It's beautiful. It's splendor. Beautiful. An oval is not in the matzah that he should have a pe'er. He's not in that frame of mind. He's not someone that should have a pair. He's busy in Avelis. You shouldn't be wearing the first day is beautiful. Think about an oval wearing a crown. The first day, wearing a crown? Yeah, tefillin's a crown. So therefore, an oval is pater from tefillin, besides to be mechayiv in every single mitzvah. So how could you tell me he's choyiv in Kriya Shema though? What?
That's not why he's called it.
Why not?
You just said it.
No, he's tarred in the Avelis a little bit. He's involved.
Said because of the crown, though.
He's tarred in Avelis. He should be wearing a crown on his head. You're busy thinking about who passed away and being Neig Avelis. All of a sudden, you're wearing a crown on your head. That doesn't pass. Doesn't pass. But you see that an oval is chayiv in all mitzvahs. What's all mitzvahs? One of them is Kriya Shema. Right? An oval, think about a guy who's tarred, who has anxiety, whose mind's occupied. You can't get more than an oval. And we see an oval is mechuyev in all mitzvahs, just not tefillin, because tefillin are pe'er. They're beautiful. But every other mitzvah, they're mechuyev. So how could you tell me if the guy has a boat sinking on the sea, that he should be pater? Maybe anyone that's tarred as pater, we see from an Amayra, from Rav, we see very clearly that an oval is mechuyev in all mitzvahs, even Kriya Shema, and he's the most tarred there is. So this can't be a true concept. So we're left off with a question: what is pshat that? What's the difference between the besula, the almana, and if you tell me it's tirda, so then the oval is the biggest tar there is possible. So the Gemara answers: hacha here by the chassan, tarid tirda the mitzvah. The chassan has a tirda. He has anxiety. He's nervous, but it's for a mitzvah. He has something going on tonight. It's a big mitzvah, and the besula has that much more than almana. So he's a tirda the mitzvah. Hassan over there by the oval, tarid tirda the rishus. You're not mechuyev to be sad and to be anxious and to be nervous when someone passes away. It's not bad. We're not mechuyev to be mitzvah. It's not mechuyev. So therefore, it's a voluntary tirda. You're not mechuyev to do it. The covenant for the mace is that you sit on a chair, you don't wear shoes, leather shoes, you don't take a shower. It's covenant for the mace. You're not mechuyev to be mitzvah. If a guy wants to smile during the veilus and be in a good mood, he's allowed to. It's not mechuyev. Fakir. The mace could be in a good spot right now.
So he's allowed to put on tefillin?
Tefillin he can, because it's just not the look. To be wearing a tefillin, a beautiful crown, it's not respectful. You're busy with avelas to be wearing, to take away your mind from the whole thing like that. But you're not mechuyev to be mitzvah and not say Kriya Shema. So we're coming out is that basically the mitzvah pater min the mitzvah. We brought a proof from B'shivcha B'Disecha. Even a chassan that's not actively involved in the mitzvah, is a mitzvah coming up, he's for tracht. Such a guy is pater. Why not the almana? The almana is not such a tirda. Even though it's a mitzvah, it's just much more of an easier thing to do. You're not busy with the dam basulim, you're not busy with a couple of other things. But the almana is a mitzvah. So any tirda? No, it has to be a tirda the mitzvah. Something where you're tarred, you're busy with a mitzvah like that you're pater. But tirda the rishus like avelis, then you're pater from you're not pater from saying Kriya Shema. Now happens to be a chassan nowadays. We do say Kriya Shema. We don't say that. Oh, chassan, you're technically pater, but because nowadays we don't have such good kavanah in the first place, it's not coming from a good spot. It's coming from a bad spot. Because we don't have such kavanah to say, oh, I can't concentrate the night of my chasana, as if every other night you have such good kavanah. You could have kavanah. So the minhag olam is we do say Kriya Shema on the night of our wedding. You don't say your pater, and that is that. We're going to stop over here by Vayse the mitzvah. Shkoyach.
I like the wikis.